everybody, it's the Warhipster here, coming at you with another Contrast Plus painting tutorial, and today we are painting the magnificent new Lord Exultant. Yes, look at it. How beautiful is this model? I'll answer. Incredible. A massive thank you to Games Workshop for sending me this one early as part of the Emperor's Children army set. It's really just having an absolute blast painting these. They're fantastic. So massive thank you to them once again, and well, we're going to jump in and we're going to start painting him. He has been primed in Grey Seer, and the colour we're going to be using first is a roughly 2 parts Lahmian Medium to 1 part Volupus Pink mix, and we're going to be using this to pick out all of the pink details of the armour. So we're just going to start down here on this boot, just like this, which is not terribly conducive to filming, but as you know, what we like to do around here is work our way up the model whenever we're painting Space Marines. And some of you might have noticed that whenever we paint Space Marines, we generally tend to start on that boot. It's a habit of a lifetime, okay? You can't break these things. Anyway, we're not going to be picking out every single armor panel with this. Instead, what we're going to be doing is picking out kind of a patchwork version of various different sections. So we're going to be applying this over the top of the boot, as we've already done there. We're going to apply this over the top of the hip plate in here. No, that's not a hip, that's a thigh. Apply it just in there, like so. Twizzle it round, make sure we're getting it. There we go. And don't worry too much if you do kind of have a really dark splodge or anything like that. We will fix it later if we need to, but I'll show you how to do it, even if I don't. There we go. Then we're going to apply this over the top of the bracer and the gauntlet over here. Like that. Make sure we got it all, which it looks like we have, apart from this part of the gauntlet. There we go. We'll make sure we get that. There we go. We are going to apply this over the top of the Power Fist as well. So much the same way as we've just done the other gauntlet. We're just going to paint the bigger hand. There we go. And we will paint in the fingers as well, but don't worry too much about getting the kind of spiky tips in. They are going to be a different colour. Check the other side to make sure we haven't splodged it out by accident. No, looks like we haven't. Looks like we're all good. Just missed a little tiny corner in there though. There we go. Perfect. And then there's only 2 more bits to do in the form of this part of the helmet. Like that. And we're also going to apply this over the top of this exhaust, well, vent. So with that all done, just whilst we're waiting for that Volupus Pink to dry, we're actually going to, rather than do the rest of the armour, because some of it are joined and we don't want to kind of accidentally mix our colours on the model, what we're going to do next is we're going to take some Sigvald Burgundy and we're going to apply this over the top of the outside of the tabard and cloak, because it's all just one thing. So it goes up over the shoulder. And so with that Sigvald Burgundy applied, like this, still drying at the moment, but what we're going to do next is take some Black Legion. And we are going to apply this over the top of all of the joints in the armour, all of the remaining flat panels of the armour, and over the top of the grip of the spear, and stuff like that. There's a whole lot of black on this model. So with all of that Black Legion applied, we're then going to take a roughly 1-to-1 mix of Luxion Purple and Leviathan Purple. And we're going to apply this over the top of the inside of the cloak. So with that 1-to-1 mix of Leviathan Purple and Luxion Purple applied, we're then going to take some Reikland Fleshshade and we're going to apply this over top of the, well, because we're doing it over the top of this bit that's wrapped around the leg, this is making it skin. So with that all done, whilst we're waiting for it to fully dry, what we're going to do is we're going to take two colours, Striking Scorpion Green and Poxwalker. I'm going to be using this over the top of the kind of, well, the hair and the tassels and stuff. And we're going to be doing this at the same time. So we're going to start with some Striking Scorpion Green, and we're going to apply this over the top, like so, over the top of all the hair and stuff like that. There we go. And then I'm going to wash the brush, grab some Poxwalker, a little bit too much. And we're just going to come in here, kind of just apply it at the same time. Just like that. And so with that all done, we're then going to take some Wyldwood and we're going to apply this over top of any leather, such as the belts and straps, and the pistol holster on his back. Next up, we're going to take some Dark Angel's Green. I'm going to apply this over top of these smooth cables. Just under here. Like that. And so with that all done, we're then going to take some thinned down Iron Warriors. We're going to apply this over top of all of the trim, mechanical details, and sharp parts, such as the weapon blade and the fingers of the power fist. So with all of that Iron Warriors applied, as you can see, there is a lot of it. What we're now going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Retributor Armour. And we're going to apply this over the top of all of our remaining details. So with that all done, it's now time to add some shades to the model. And the first of these is going to be a roughly 2 parts Lahmian Medium to 1 part Shyish Purple mix. And we're going to be applying this over top of the inside of the cloak. And this is just to add a little bit of extra cold purple into that colour. Just like that sort of thing. And so with that then done, what we're going to do is take some Nuln Oil. We're going to apply this over the top of the black armour. So with that all done, we're then going to use some Druchii Violet. I'm going to use this to shade pretty much the entirety of the rest of the model. So we're going to be using this over the top of all the silver, all the gold, and over the top of the Sigvald Burgundy. And over the top of the Reikland Fleshshade as well. So with that all done, our Lord Exultant is now what I would call a Warhipster battle ready. And he's looking pretty good. However, we're not going to leave it there. Of course not. No, we're going to take it to the next level. We're going to do this by adding some layers and some highlights. Now, first of these is going to be a layer. It's going to be some thinned down Emperor's Children. I'm going to thin this down a little bit more than we would normally, sort of 3 or 4 parts water. And we're just going to use this over top of all of the pink armour. And this is just as a little glaze to help us create a little bit more punch in the pink, or, as is more commonly used, to just add, well, to help us correct any mistakes that we might have, whilst not being too invasive a colour over the top of what we've already done. So with that Emperor's Children all applied, what we're then going to do is take some Thins Down Fulgrim Pink. I'm going to use this to highlight all of the pink. So with that Fulgrim Pink all applied, we're then going to take some Thins Down Dawnstone. And we're going to use this to highlight all of the black armour. And we will also use this to highlight the grip of the staff, but we don't need to use this over the top of the soft joints. So with all that Dawnstone applied, we're then going to take some Thins Down Administratum Grey. And we're going to use this to pick out the sharpest points in all that black armour. So with that Administratum Grey all applied, what we're now going to do is take some Thins Down Pallid Witch Flesh, and we're going to use this to highlight the skin on the knee. So with that Pallid Witch Flesh all applied, we're then going to take some Thins Down Wazdakka Red, and we're going to use this to highlight the Burgundy. So with all that Wazdakka Red applied, we're then going to take some Thins Down Pink Horror, which might not seem like too much of a jump, but it's perfect for what we can see on the box art. I'm going to use this to add a little bit of a spot highlight. Just along the sharpest kind of edges, like that. So with that all done, we're now going to take some Thins Down Genestealer Purple, and we're going to use this to highlight the inside of the cloak. So with that all done, we're then going to take some Thins Down Sybarite Green, and we're going to use this over the top of the eye lenses to add a little dot. Like that sort of thing. And we're going to use this to add just a little highlight to these cables. And with that Sybarite Green applied, we then want to take a tiny little bit of Gauss Blaster Green. I'm going to use this to add a little kind of bright point in the eye lenses, just towards the middle. Like that sort of thing. And we're also going to use the Gauss Blaster Green to highlight the hair and the tassels. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is another one of those layers we talked about right at the beginning. And we're going to take some thinned down Leadbelcher. And we're going to thin it down just a little bit more than we would normally, sort of 2 or 3 parts water. I'm going to apply this over the top of the blade and over the top of the main backpack housing. Now we're just thinning it down a little bit more than normal because we still want some of that purple to shine through. But what we do want to do is just avoid any of the recesses. Just like that sort of thing. We want to make it look nice and shiny and sharp. Similarly, on the main backpack assembly, back here, we have this section, is what I mean by that. So with that all done, what we're then going to do is take a roughly 1-to-1 mix of Volupus Pink and Lahmian Medium. I'm going to do a little bit of blending here, so we're going to start around the power node. And we're going to apply just a good sort of section of Volupus Pink like that. I'm going to wash the brush, touch off the water, and just give it the blends. On either side. Like that. And so with that all done, what we're then going to do is take some thinned down Ironbreaker. And we're going to use this to highlight all of our silver. With all that Ironbreaker applied, as you can see, it really starts to look almost finished. But before we can do our final little bit, what we need to do is we need to take a little bit of Fulgrim Pink and use this to highlight the parlor nodule. On the blade. Like that. And so with that all done, we're then going to take some thinned down Liberator Gold. And we're going to use this to highlight all the gold. And so with the base complete in the same style as the rest of our Emperor's Children, like we did in the Noise Marines video, our Lord Exultant is now finished. I really love this model. I think it's very characterful, it's very cool, there's lots of different options here. Of course I've gone with the one that for me looked the coolest, but I just think it really kind of just speaks of that kind of arrogant Emperor's Children attitude towards things. I just love it. It's so good. If you enjoyed this video, you love the channel, and you'd like to support me further, you absolutely can do so by heading to patreon.com/warhipster, just like all of these wonderful, amazing people have done. And alternatively, you could become a YouTube channel member by clicking on the join button below, exactly like these fabulous folks have done, scrolling up on the screen before you. There are so many of you out there that it really takes my breath away, and I cannot thank you enough for everything you do, as without you I wouldn't be able to keep making these Contrast Plus videos. And if you really like this video and you want to send me a little thanks, just click on the thanks button just below this video. Don't forget to share it, like it, comment on it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and to make sure you stay up to date, don't forget to click the bell icon. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all very soon in the next one. Happy wargaming.